It's a mess in this attic, lot going on, but there ain't no need to panic. Come on up and join, we getting wild, getting manic. Spitting truth for all you fanatics. Every week got something new to say. Ain't no filter, this shit coming straight from the brain. It's coming straight from the brain. Yeah, it's coming straight from the brain.
What's up, everybody? Today is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. This is A Talk in the Attic, which means, of course, I'm your host, Kirk Ross. It's been such a long time since I've released one of these old school solo episodes. This episode will not be animated. This episode will not feature any guest. It's just you and me today. And to that end, how are you? Has your summer been going well? Are you pursuing activities and relationships that are fulfilling to you above all else? It's a challenge, isn't it? It's a challenge to carve out enough time from work and family and friends to take care of yourself. And not only to take care of yourself, but to create an environment in which you yourself can focus on a project all by your lonesome, just for you. We're all constantly bombarded with distractions that oftentimes prevent us from doing what we need to do. Sometimes our jobs get in the way of our personal fulfillment. Other times, the opposite is true, and our personal lives obstruct our professional responsibilities. We hear a lot about work-life balance these days, but that's a little simplistic, don't you think? Work in and of itself is rarely as simple as the term work-life balance implies, and the same is true of life. Within the work bucket, we all face pressures to perform our daily tasks. Sure, that's a no-brainer. But the work bin also includes our short-term and long-term career aspirations. Sometimes it includes office politics. Other times it includes unclear direction from your leadership. And like everything, your interpersonal relationships are paramount at work, just like they are in our lives at large. And on the life side of the work-life equation, we have so many things to keep track of, don't we? We have to take care of our families. We have to worry about our personal finances, our personal health, our social calendars. We've got to unsubscribe from the dozens of robo-texts coming in from all the political polling outfits searching for voter intel as we head into yet another election cycle. We've got fantasy football drafts and TV premieres and social media activity. As modern life continues to grow in complexity, it also grows in ambiguity. We're always connected to all aspects of our lives, both personally and professionally. We're constantly juggling 100 different things at once, and if you're anything like me, it's not uncommon to get through an entire day without feeling like even a single task on your original to-do list from that morning was crossed off. It can be exhausting. It can be discouraging. It can be difficult to keep moving forward. But it's what we have to do, right? It's in the moments that we all feel like lying low and doing nothing that we must push even harder for whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. This podcast project is the thing that keeps me up at night. Why did I waste 2 hours watching TV when I know in my heart I could have and should have been writing an episode? Why did I work until 8 p.m. when I should have been working on music for the show? Why did I shoot pool instead of shooting some content? Well, to some degree, it's fear keeping me from producing at the clip you've come to expect from the show. I'm afraid nobody wants to hear from me anymore. I'm afraid that I'll be perceived as selfish for dumping so much time and energy into what is ostensibly a hobby at this point. I'm afraid that this project won't go anywhere beyond what it is today. I'm afraid of looking like a hack amongst a sea of hacks. But fuck that. I know what kind of potential I have. I know what kind of potential this show has, and I refuse to let the fear of failure or the perception of others dictate my approach to life. And I hope you're able to say the same thing. So, let's make a deal, folks. I'm going to keep at this thing, just like you're going to keep doing your thing. Technology has made it difficult to set clear boundaries on our personal, professional, and family lives, sure, but that same technology has also made it possible to achieve more than ever and with a rate of efficiency higher than was ever afforded to us before. So what do you say? Let's take advantage of that. But first, let's start the show. All right, that song that you just heard was a little ditty I produced last night. By the way, I'm having a blast learning to perform and produce music. Learning a new skill from scratch is something that was an everyday thing back when we were kids. But we tend to shy away from these same opportunities as we age, likely because we're afraid to suck at something. But we all suck at things we've never tried. It's how it works. How can we ever get better if we aren't willing to be bad at it first? It sounds simple, but this is the key to life. We must always be willing to try new things, to learn new things, and then practice tirelessly at these new things until our desire to improve outweighs our fear of being bad at it. Which brings me to today's episode, entitled The Wurst. Notice the spelling. What you're about to hear is my first attempt at writing 5 minutes of stand-up comedy. Well, I guess in this case, sit-down comedy. My creative heroes have long been stand-up comedians: George Carlin, Jerry Seinfeld, Mitch Hedberg, Bill Burr, just to name a few. So recently, while tossing and turning in bed, lamenting the fact that I hadn't been putting enough energy into the podcast and my creative aspirations at large, I decided to write a short set. It took me about 20 minutes to write, and I haven't touched it since. This initial draft will require countless iterations and performance attempts before it's ready, but I won't know just how much tweaking is necessary until I put it out there first, right? So at the risk of sucking, at the risk of embarrassing myself by putting this out there, allow me to present to you my first draft of my first 5 minutes of comedy, a piece I'm calling The Wurst. Here goes nothing. So last night I had to say the word breathed, as in I just breathed. You're telling me we can't come up with a more efficient word than breathed? Breathed? It takes forever to say. Sometimes I take a break halfway through the word just so I can catch my breath. You're telling me the past tense of go is went, even though goed would have worked out just fine, but they landed at breathed for the past tense of breathe? Why not Brett? Or maybe brat even. Speaking of brat, have you ever come across the word brat as in spoiled brat in written form? It's almost impossible to see it as anything other than brat, as in bratwurst. But then again, I'm a sausage guy, so maybe I'm just reading what I want to read. Either that or my friend's wife was actually acting like a spoiled sausage. Do you think the bratwurst would perform better on menus if it didn't include the word worst right in the title? How's your brat? It's terrible. How bad? The worst. I'll have 3. Have you ever been eating a brat and thought to yourself, is this really how I want to die? Sad about Kirk, isn't it? Well, he died doing what he loved, eating a brat. Hell of a way to go. The worst. How are we supposed to pronounce Worcestershire sauce? Worcestershire, Worcestershire, Worcestershire? Who gives a fuck anyway? Is anybody really ever excited about the prospect of a Worcestershire forward dish? And what's with the packaging of Worcestershire sauce? Alas, Lee, we accidentally mixed this giant tank of soy sauce with these anchovies and 200 pounds of salt. What should we do? Wrap that bottle in butcher paper, parents! Why, that's genius! Who doesn't love unwrapping a greasy paper sack before opening a dried-on bottle cap of fermented garbage? How's it taste? Bad. How bad? The worst. Damn it, parents, you magnificent bastard! I think we've got ourselves a name. Worcestershire. I think the only time I've ever used Worcestershire sauce was back in my drinking days. Can't have a Bloody Mary without a little Worcestershire sauce, right? But are you ever really happy at the end of a Bloody Mary? Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of a Bloody Mary as much as the next guy. But in practice, they never quite hit the mark. Everybody, wake up! You know how we only got a few hours of sleep on account of all the alcohol we drank last night? Yes. And you know how you're feeling so dehydrated right now that your lips are stuck to your teeth and it actually hurts to blink? Yes. Well, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I think so. Okay, then say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Water. Tomato juice and vodka and Worcestershire sauce. Did someone say we should use a beef stick as a straw? I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't skewer a bunch of pungent cheeses and stick them in there too. Well, actually, I was thinking water, but that super salty ketchup cocktail might be refreshing. I've never walked into a Bloody Mary expecting anything less than a divine experience. Whoever's hosting puts so much effort and so many calories into their special recipe. The secret's in the pickles. And every time I buy right in, Maybe all these super salty pickles will make this salty drink less terrible. First hits your lips. Man, that's salty. Really salty. But your friend who just poured his blood, sweat, and tears is eyeing me up for some sort of stamp of approval. And I can't let him down, right? Wow. This is one savory drink. Oh, I knew you'd love it. Next thing you know, I'm wandering around the house looking for a place to set my still full solo cup. Hey, maybe if I put it down on the entertainment center beneath the TV, Jake won't know it was me who ditched his terrible drink. I'm 6'3" after all. I'd never set anything down so low to the ground. Look, the benefits of not drinking are too bountiful to name, but none surpasses that which gives me a built-in excuse to pass on your special Bloody Mary. You sure you don't want one? Come on, what's one drink? No, I really shouldn't. Come on, why not? Well, you might think it's because of my realization that alcohol was a destructive force in my life, dimming my energy and stifling my potential, but it's not that. You might think that it's because I wasted so much money and energy on nights I can't remember with people who couldn't either, leading to unbelievable guilt, hazy regrets, and overwhelming anxiety, but it's not that either. Well, what is it then? Why won't you just have one of my world-famous Bloody Marys? Because, Jake, I think there is no bigger affront to the world of modern mixology than your world-famous Bloody Mary. Oh, what's that? You use Zing Zang, Jake? You mean that same $4 bottle of spicy V8 that literally everybody else uses too? Oh, you've added a couple of pepperoncinis in there. Wow. Did you grab them from the leftover pizza box over there? Because I know nobody wanted them last night. Or maybe they were just saving them for their early morning glass of hypertension today. Wow, folks, we've got ourselves a regular John Taffert here. Wow. You know, you could have just said no, you didn't want it. Well, I think I did. Do you really think my Bloody Mary is that bad? It's the worst. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.
It's a mess in this attic. Lot going on, but there ain't no need to panic. Come on up and join, we getting wild, getting manic. Spitting truth for all you fanatics. Every week got something new to say. Ain't no filter, this shit coming straight from the brain.
It's coming straight from the brain.
Yeah, it's coming straight from the brain.